we started this report when KRI was first established. So in 2014 we released one, and the idea is to give a picture of Malaysia, in particular from the point of view of the household, because traditionally we always look at economic data in terms of GDP, but GDP doesn't always translate into household incomes, and our belief is that if you want to look at economic data which really affects people, look at household income and not GDP. So what we do is we base it on the results published by the Department of Statistics. Every 2 years, the US conducts a household income and basic amenity survey and a household expenditure survey. So the last one they did was in 2014, and the results were released end of 2015. And we also used some more, where there was more up-to-date data, for example, on inflation and employment. We also used data as of 2015. And we want to give everybody a true picture of households. There are, I know it's a thick report, there are 138 pages. So I would urge all those interested in this to actually read the whole report, because it's difficult to summarize all of that into a few sentences. But I think one thing which stands out is the rise in median income. And I think I have to say a little bit about this. There are two ways to, I mean, if you want, there are about 6.4 million households, 6.68 million households in Malaysia as of 2012. So that's a lot of households, right? 6.68 million. And if you wanted to do, so how do you find out how well 6.68 million people are doing? How do you summarize that into one or two numbers? Usually what people tend to do is look at the average. Average means you take 6.68 million houses, you add up everybody's income, and then you divide by 6.68 million. That will give you the average.
That's the average.
That's the average. Well, it gives you some idea. The problem with that, the average, is that if people at the very top earn a lot more, it can bring up the average. So sometimes it's not very representative. So the other number we use is what's called the median. And the median income was 4,485 ringgit per household per month. Median means if you take 6.68 million people, you look at halfway mark, 3.34 million. So when we say that the median is 4,585, what we're saying is that 50% of all households, around 3.34 million households, earn more than that. But another 50% earn less than that. So if you look what it was in 2012, it was 3,626. So in 2012, half earn more than 3,626, half earn less than 3,626. When you come to 2014, half earn more than 4,585 and half earn less than 4,585. And that tells you that people are, on the whole, I mean, obviously for each particular household, some do better, some do worse, some do very much better. But on the whole, if half are making more than 4,585, whereas 2 years ago, half were only making more than 3,626, something must be, incomes must have increased. And then again, if you look, for example, at the people who earn less than 2,000 ringgit, in 2012, 22.6% earn less than 2,000 ringgit. In 2014, only 11% earn less than 2,000 ringgit. And again, if you look at, take another cutoff, 6,000 ringgit a month. In 2012, only a quarter, around 25.9% of households earn more than 600 ringgit. By the time you get to 2014, 1/3, or maybe 35% of households earn. So this is it's what we're saying is that if you look at it in that way, then you must think that household income's gone up. Yeah. But one perhaps misunderstanding is household income does not mean salaries, because household income is the income of the household from all the income earners in the household. So it could be the father's income, mother's income, maybe if the son or daughter is working, their income, that all goes together. So it's not just one person's income, it's the income of the entire household. And what we don't understand at the moment is whether how the composition of the household is. Maybe in some households more people are working, Maybe before, when the son used to live in a different house, now he's moved back to live in with the parents, and so the income of the household goes up. Maybe before the wife was not working, now the wife is working. We don't, as yet, we're trying to do more work on this, but we don't exactly know why it is household income's gone up. But we do know that it has happened because, you understand, every 5 years, Department of Statistics does a census where it interviews everybody, all 6.6 million households. In between, they do this survey every 2 years, and for the survey, they can't ask everybody. They can't keep, you can't, it's just too expensive to do this every year. So what they do is they take a sample. And the sample here was 80,000 households. So they've taken a sample across the country. And we have to accept that number as being a good number because they follow all the international procedures. They've been doing it since 1973 for income survey. So for the last 40 years, we've been accepting this number. So I think we have to accept the number of the Department of Statistics because the methods they use is a very good methodology. Margin of error is 25 ringgit. So I mean, we have to accept this number. So it tells us that this is how it is. But we don't know why. Okay, we don't know. We have some speculation why, but we don't know the actual reason why. Maybe it could be, as I said, child moves in, or maybe child graduates and gets a job, suddenly more income comes in the household. But what is true is that if before 50% earn less than 3,600 in 2012, in 2014, 50% earn more than 4,500. And it used to be, if you're a graduate, you get more, and it's still true. Nah? If you're a graduate, you get a lot more than somebody who doesn't have an education. But 33% of our unemployed are graduates. And we don't know why they're unemployed. Is it because they don't like the job? Is it because the employer's not offering? We don't know. I mean, there can be many reasons. Maybe you'd rather stay at home. I don't know. Maybe you're just waiting for that perfect job and you don't want to accept anything. We don't know the actual reason why, but there is definitely high graduate unemployment. So yeah, but our issue at the moment is low wages. So this, government, everybody says innovation, productivity. I mean, that's real. We have to, the country as a whole has to get more high value jobs. Now, this is an aside, but productivity doesn't mean hardworking or lazy. I mean, a person who works in the farm works very hard, but his productivity is low because you're a farmer. How much? It doesn't mean you're. Sorry, this is my thing on the side. It's just people say, Malaysia's not productive, as if Malaysians are lazy. Lazy and productive are not the same thing. We should be looking at the Consumer Credit Act. But if you look at the debt, it's very high. And debt is very high, and yet So Consumer Credit Act. One basic thing you should do is to make it compulsory so that people know the true interest rate. Macam bayaran seran kan, you don't know, RM10 sebulan, you don't actually know your true effective interest rate. So we highlighted this in our last report, and we're hoping that maybe something can be done about it. That's one, to make sure that you know true interest rate. Second, whether you want to put some maximum on how much can be charged by the bank or the. It's not much at the bank because you can get credit everywhere. You can, bayaran suran, bayaran suran. You can go to a shop and get bayaran suran. You can credit card Muzatu. So that would be that's probably the thing which can help immediately the fastest. And the Bank Negara numbers that people who earn below 3,000 ringgit a month, their borrowings are 7 times their annual income, which is quite high. But again, I don't know. It depends. If you're just starting work, maybe it's not so bad to borrow because you're hoping that you will get a pay rise in the future and all that. But if you're already in your 50s and you're borrowing 7 times your income, then it's probably not such a good idea. Yeah. And again, it's understandable because if you make below a certain amount, you don't have enough left over to save. Yeah. You have to make a certain. I don't know what the amount is, but you have to make a certain amount before you have money to save. So once you have a high income, then it becomes better when you have money to save. You put it in, you compound interest, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the person with lower income can't doesn't have that amount of money. So yeah, the wealth gap is huge, and we in our book we only show EPF and ASB, but as I mentioned in other places, the real wealth is land, and we don't know. We don't know what the land property is or shares. Most people, if they're wealth, they'll buy land, and then maybe they'll buy shares. But for Malaysians, generally, it's land. So we don't know land ownership. Yeah. Maybe just on the aging part, it's actually good that we live longer. I mean, I think I'm happy that we live longer. But as you said, the problem is that then do you have enough EPF savings to last 20 years? And that's because if you don't earn enough while you're working, you won't save enough to last you 20 years. And that's one issue which is going to become more and more pressing. As more and more people, will run out of money because they live longer than their money.
People are not prepared, financially prepared.
And before, in the old days, you can go back to the kampung, or you can depend on your children. But people have few children now, and the children themselves also have their own financial commitments. So it's going to be harder for many people.